Call to order the zoning board of appeals for Wednesday, August 21st. Everyone rise for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
There's a change of the agenda. We're going to postpone item 2 because their variance request exceeds what was advertised because they changed their plans after they did a survey. So I entertain a motion to approve the agenda with item. Do you want to do that formally?
Yeah, you can do it through approval of agenda.
Okay,
It's
so
fine.
that item 2 will be postponed.
I make a motion to approve the agenda with the adjustments.
Support.
Support? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Roll call.
Mr. Shackelford.
Present.
Mr. Nault.
Present.
What do we have here? Mr. Alexander.
Present.
Mr. DiBartolomeo.
Here.
Mr. Ireland.
Here.
Myself, I am here. Mr. Pearl.
Here.
And Mr. Randlett is excused.
Okay, thank you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I have to, by requirements, I have to read this little page of stuff, so relax. I know there's not a big audience, but take it to heart what I'm reading out there. The Board of Appeals functions as a quasi-judiciary body with specific powers and limitations as outlined in the various sections of the zoning ordinance and the state statutes. The zoning ordinance sets the standard the board must use in reaching any decision. Once a decision of the board becomes final, only the courts can modify or reverse that decision. The board is not empowered to change the terms or intent of an ordinance. Therefore, you must petition the Township Board of Trustees if you wish to amend an ordinance. Before a variance can be granted, certain requirements must be satisfied. 1, practical difficulty must be demonstrated. 2, whether strict compliance with area, setback, frontage, height, bulk, or density would unnecessarily prevent the owner from using the property for permitted purpose or would render conformity unnecessarily burdensome. 3, whether a variance would do substantial justice to the petitioner as well as to other property owners in the district, or whether a lesser relaxation would give substantial relief and be more consistent with justice to others. 4, whether the plight of the owner is due to unique circumstances of the property. 5, whether the problem is self-created. 6, that the spirit of the ordinance observe public safety, security, and justice done. Mr. Secretary, if you would read the first case.
Yes, we have file 247081. File name is Chipotle, 24276 Hall Road. And our petitioner is Kevin Dieters with Metro Signs and Lighting. We have a request for variance to allow a 37.8 square foot wall sign on the east elevation of the building. We have 75 pieces of mail mailed out with 2 returned.
Okay, thank you. Is the petitioner here? Would you come forward, please? Your name and
Hey, good evening. My name is Paul Dieters. I am with Metro Signs and Lighting, 11444 Cults Avenue in Warren.
okay, you want to state your case?
Sure. Well, thank you for convening just, I guess, on our behalf here tonight. But anyway, I just hoping that the board could consider our case here this evening. As you know, there was a large bank was located on that property, and just with the times changing and what's needed at banking facilities, the site is being redeveloped for hopefully what is going to be a more efficient use of that. Chipotle is going in at the east end of that property. And well, it's sort of the way it had to break out. They've got a real long, deep building, just the way the drive-through queue and all of that worked. And what they're hoping for this evening is an opportunity to place a wall sign on the east elevation which I don't know if you have the plans in front of you, can see is it really helps them identify, here's where the drive-through is. That's a huge part of a business like that now. And then it also would give them exposure to Gratiot Avenue, which would certainly help their traffic there and probably make it a little bit easier for people as they're coming from Gratiot or from Hall Road in that direction to get into the proper lanes and think about turning to get in there. So would like you to consider too is that the signage that they've proposed on the north elevation is significantly smaller than what would be allowed by code. So we're hoping that in light of that we might get a little bit of latitude to add a second sign on the east elevation. So that's really all I had. I'm happy to
Okay,
entertain any
so the
questions.
two signs add up to less than the requirement?
Not
And
less than the
that's allowed?
requirements, or from what I understand, I believe, and maybe Mr. Thompson can verify this, I think on the north elevation, they'd be allowed to have 58 square feet based upon the frontage they have of 2 square feet per linear foot of frontage. So we're asking for combined would be 74 square feet total, so just a little bit over what they would be able to have on the site.
Mr. Thompson, what's allowed for that building?
I thought that it was a total of 85 that they were allowed to have. Total of 85, but the denial from the building department does not mention anything about it being over the amount that is allowed. So I'm going to have to rely on the building department's calculations for that. And so I don't believe that area is an issue here, just the number of signs.
So it's a combined 37.8 and then a new 37.8?
Yes. And I think we were basing the allowance off of the shorter end of the building that faces Hall Road. The much longer elevation is the one that doesn't abut Gratiot, but it faces that, which would, if we were to use that in the calculation for what the signage would be allowed, it would be significantly more.
Okay, questions by the board? No? I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve the variance in the spirit of the ordinance is observed due to the variance request is not substantial in proportion to the requirements of the ordinance.
Support?
I'll support it.
Discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Alexander,
Vote yes.
Mr. DiBartolomeo,
Yes.
Mr. Shackelford,
Yes.
Mr. Ireland.
Yes.
All right, myself, I vote yes. Mr. Pearl,
Yes.
Mr. Nault,
Yes.
Motion's approved.
Great, thank you very much. I appreciate your help.
When's it going up?
Well, they're coming along a lot faster than they thought. I'm really surprised. They got a little bit of work ahead of them yet, but hopefully soon. They want to get that thing open before the weather turns, that's for sure. So but
Okay.
they're coming along pretty quickly.
Thank you.
You bet. Thank you.
Next item on agenda is public comments. Is there anyone in the public that has a comment? I don't see anyone. We'll move on to report of the approval of the July 17, 2024 meeting minutes.
Make motion to approve?
Support.
No- Without changes? No changes?
No deletions or corrections.
Okay.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Discussion on next meeting agenda for Wednesday,
So
September
obviously,
18th.
Mr. Chairman, we'll have Great Baraboo back. They're actually on Planning Commission tomorrow night for a review of their site plan. We had left it on just so that you know for this evening because we had already sent out the notices to the paper and to the folks out there. And so while we the procedure is typically it goes to the Planning Commission first and then the ZBA. The Planning Commission didn't have a quorum, and so they couldn't be heard. So in this case, I felt that, one, we had to bring it here because we posted it, but two, then it was really going to be up to you as to whether or not you wanted to consider the variance before the planning commission saw it or not. But obviously, that's been determined for you. I was, recontacted by them this morning that said that their plans were not correct. So we'll get them on for the 18th. And then you also will have a request for a height variance for a pole barn for an address on Clinton River Road. So those will be the two items.
Okay, thank you. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Support.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much.